Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening to everyone. Today, our group will talk about Android and iOS, and also what are the differences between them. Here are our team members. The first person is Shazin Najmi bin Muhammad Sarum Nizam. Second person is Muhammad Izham Haikal bin Zulkifli. The third person is Muhammad Dinish Haikal bin Cik Sofyan. And lastly would be me, Muhammad Nafis bin Ahmad Shamsuddin. In this presentation, we will talk about the differences between Android and iOS operating system is based on seven main topics, which is reliability, security, ease of design, implementation, flexibility, efficiency, advantages, and also disadvantages. So the first topic would be the reliability. Some Android devices may not receive any Android version updates despite Google having already made an update because most Android devices come from different manufacturers. This is due to Android being an open source operating system that is available for many manufacturers to use it for their own brands. With Android being an open source operating system, this can result in some devices being outdated and fragmented for not receiving any new operating system software updates because the manufacturers are the ones that decide whether or when to offer new updates or not offer it at all. Even if software updates are offered, it will take much more longer time because the manufacturers will uh, supposedly will prioritize new products for their selling with their new updated software. So, a device that is no longer receiving updates is vulnerable to the newest security breach, exploits, and malware as it lacks protection. Thus, we can say that Android devices are unlikely to be reliable compared to iOS devices as the software updates for this particular operating system are not consistent and depends on the brands.
On the other hand, the iOS system is known for its reliability and security. It is designed with a focus on privacy and has a solid foundation of advanced technologies and programming practices, making it dependable operating system. For example, a study conducted by Blanco Technology Group in 2018 found that iOS devices have a lower failure rate compared to Android devices, making them a more reliable option for users. Furthermore, Apple is known for carefully testing and thoroughly reviewing updates before releasing them to the public, ensuring the new features are integrated smoothly and bugs are fixed. Regular security updates are also released to protect against new threats and vulnerabilities. These combined with stable architecture make iOS a trusted device for millions of users worldwide.
Okay, now we will proceed with security for Androids. Operating system security ensures the protection and stability of operating system integrity, confidentiality, and availability, which includes safeguarding against potential threats such as viruses, malware, and unauthorized access. Traditionally, Android typically been seen as more vulnerable than iOS in terms of security. Android is an open source platform. Android, being an open source platform, allow any developer to be able to write applications and software with less security mechanisms and other controls, which can be dangerous for the consumers. With Android being an open source also means that any individuals, including hackers, can have access to the source code, making it easier to find security flaws. And since Android being the most used mobile OS in the world, hackers will most likely target Android user as there are more of them compared to iOS user, which means that more benefit and a wider range of targets for them are available.
Okay, now I will talk about iOS in terms of security. Okay, first point, closed source system. Okay, while Android being an open source platform, iOS by Apple is strictly being regulated by Apple itself, which is also able to maintain strict supervisions over the applications available. As Apple doesn't make its source code available to app developers, and users of iPhone and iPad are unable to alter the codes on their devices. Okay, Due to this fact, this control enables Apple devices to provide good security and give hackers a hard time to locate flaws on iOS powered devices. Okay, moving on to the next point. Its ecosystems, fewer touch points. Okay, Apple approved hardware and software will be the only options available to iOS users, which will enhance security. Apple is able to sustain each of its product for a longer period of time than platforms with hardware OS fragmentation because its ecosystem has fewer touch points. Okay, because of Apple's smaller platform, even older phones may still be able to run the most recent OS and apps and benefits from all the latest security updates. As a result, customers now perceive iPhone security as being safer than the other operating system. Okay, next, iOS does not need third-party antivirus. Okay, plus, unlike Android, where users can install antivirus software into their devices, iOS closed ecosystem, which does not allow apps that access the root coding of the phones, which both lessens the need of iOS antivirus and make it out of question to develop an iOS antivirus for App Store approval. Okay. However, due to these strict restrictions, App Store offer fewer applications compared to Android Google Play Store.
Moving on to the ease of design for Androids. In terms of ease of designs, Android's app development tends to use Java or Kotlin as their programming language. For Android devices, the range of screen size is massive. This makes Android requires more effort in interface design and device specific programming to guarantee compatibility and effective operation on all devices. Thus, we can say that it will take more time and cost to set things up to be optimized and the same between every other Android device.
So for the ease of designs of iOS provides developers with a range of design resources and tools that simplify the design process. The human interface guidelines provided by Apple ensure a consistent look and feel for all iOS apps, making it easier to create visually appealing designs. Tools such as Sketch, Photoshop, and Xcode allow designers to quickly prototype and refine their designs. ARKit and Core ML expand the design possibilities even further, providing developers with the ability to create augmented reality and machine learning experiences with much ease. According to a survey by Clutch 2021, 85% of iOS developers believe that the ease of design is a major advantage of the platform, making it a great choice for both novice and experienced designers.
Next is the implementation. When it comes to implementation, Android applications are developed either using Java, Kotlin programming language, or C++. Application components are very essential for building application. It acts as an entry point for users or systems to access the application. There are a total of 4 components with each of them having its own purpose. The basic components of an Android applications are: number one is the activities. An activity is a class that is considered as an entry point for users that represents a single screen. A messenger application might have an activity that shows a new notification, another activity which reads messages, and another which composes a new message. Next is the services. A service is a component that runs in the background. It acts as an invisible worker for our application. It keeps updating data sources and activities. It also broadcasts intents and performs tasks when applications are not active. An example of service is we can surf the internet or use any other application while listening to music. The third one is the content providers. Content provider is a component that allows applications to share data among multiple applications. It hides the details of the database and can be used to read and write private data of the application which is not shared. It would be a mess to access data from other applications without content providers. Lastly is the receiver. Broadcast receiver is a component that responds to broadcast messages from other applications or the same system. It can also deliver broadcasts to applications that are not running. For example, notify the user that the battery is low. Android developers can use broadcast messages in the application or outside the normal flow.
Okay, now we'll talk about implementation on iOS. On the other hand, applications on iOS are developed using Swift language. Swift language is a modern programming language, especially crafted for Apple devices. Okay, for beginner, the code is fairly simple and straightforward to read. Swift, however, is exclusive to Apple products and is rarely employed outside of the creations of iOS apps. The four components in the iOS operating system are the OS layer, services layer, media layer, and lastly we have the Cocoa Touch layer. What are those? I will explain. OS layer has been used to communicate with the external hardware and provides frameworks to emphasize security. Services layer is for designing the services that the upper layer or the user demands. The media layer is for handling the media like video, audio, or graphics. While the Cocoa Touch layer is the place where frameworks are present and created when applications are created.
Next is the flexibility. As we already know, Android operates on an open source system, giving developers greater liberty to adjust and personalize the platform's application. Other than that, Android is known to be much more customizable in terms of user interface. On Android, the app icon size and shape, as well as its colors, can all be altered and personalized easily with a lot of options. Android also allows its user to install applications from external sources that are not available on the Google Play Store. Through side loading, this feature gives Android users an added level of versatility, allowing them to explore a broader range of apps beyond the offerings of the Google Play Store.
So, in terms of flexibility, iOS is often considered less flexible compared to Android. Apple places strict guidelines on app design and user interface, leading to a uniform look and feel across all apps on the platform. This, however, can limit the creativity of the developers who are looking to create unique and highly customized apps. Furthermore, iOS restricts access to certain system-level APIs and features, making it difficult for developers to deeply customize their apps. Besides that, iOS only allows the users to install applications provided by the App Store only, thus making it less versatile compared to Androids.
Okay, we will look at the efficiency for Androids. In terms of efficiency for Android, it can be seen in battery life performance. High quality Android devices are usually manufactured to have a large size capacity battery to make it stay alive longer without charging. Androids also embodies features like dose mode and app standby that preserve power and prolong battery life. What is dose mode? Dose mode is a marshmallow version feature that disables certain tasks from running while your device is idle. It basically disables certain tasks from running while your device is idle. App Standby, on the other hand, means that it's suspending unused applications' background network activity. From this, we can say that Android devices are very efficient in sustaining its battery life to go on with users' daily life.
Okay, now efficiency in iOS. There is no doubt that majority of Android devices have greater battery life than iOS powered devices. However, in terms of efficiency, iOS also have the upper hands compared to Androids for some parts. First, iOS is well known for its smooth performance. Even though the latest iPhone 14 has the same specs with any mid-range phones, Android phones, people tend to forget that powerful specs are not the main source of performance. The fact is, iOS is designed to work flawlessly with few devices. Apple produce is what counts the most. Due to better integration provided by Apple's closed environment, iPhones does not require incredibly powerful specifications to compete with top tier Android phones. Everything depends on how well the hardware and software are optimized. Since Apple oversees the entire production process, it can make sure that the resources are used more effectively. Additionally, developers must adhere to a stricter process in order to publish apps, and they are not required to optimize them for what may seem like an infinite number of devices. Then the user interface, the UI. One of the things iOS does perhaps better than Android is its simplicity, which is loved by its fans. The simplicity of iOS is one of its attractions. Many of iPhone lovers dislike having to fiddle with and configure their phones. They seek a gadget that is reliable, simple to use, and can quickly connect them to their desired content. No matter whatever mobile device that you use, the settings are simple and the experience is always the same. Okay, since iOS does not offer any user modification, the iPhones are incredibly simple to operate and easier for new users to understand. Okay, as a result, the UIs enhance simplicity. Consumers start to adapt to it. In order to prevent user confusion when using iPhone, it does not offer several options. On the other hand, Androids offer a wide range of choices for customizing and altering the appearance of the user interface.
For the last part, we will explain the differences between Android and iOS in terms of their own advantages and disadvantages. I will start with Android. For the advantages, Android has it in many aspects, one of them being massive hardware selection. Android being open source allows many brands to use it for their products, which results in various models with differing hardware capabilities, screen sizes, and features to be created. This allows users to choose on which design and models of phone they prefer. Another pros of Android is that they allow expandable memory like SD cards to be used. This means that storage of Android devices can be extended to a much higher degree. With this, users don't have to worry much about their storage. For disadvantages of Android, we can say that it has many advertisements in apps. Although many Android apps can be downloaded for free, they always have a lot of adverts that appear when you are using the apps. It is very annoying, and some of it might include harmful malware. Another disadvantages of Android that I found is that Android's low specification devices run slowly. Due to Android being an extensive operating system and use many resources, low specification phone may overheat quickly and make the performance of the phone worse.
And last but not least, for the advantage of iOS, iOS offers several compelling benefits to both developers and users. One of the key strengths of iOS is its stability and reliability. With a tightly controlled ecosystem and stringent app review process that helps to ensure a high-quality user experience. iOS also boasts a large and dedicated user base, with millions of active devices worldwide. This provides a large potential market for app developers, who can reach a wide audience with their creations. Additionally, iOS is known for its cutting-edge technology and hardware, with devices such as the iPhone and iPad offering powerful hardware and innovative features. Finally, iOS offers a range of developer tools and APIs that make it easy for developers to create and publish apps on the App Store.
Okay, these advantages of iOS. Just like other operating system, iOS also have some drawbacks apart from the good sides. Okay, firstly, due to being a closed source system, users cannot customize their devices since all the codes are private, unlike devices powered by Android. The only customization available on iOS is changing your wallpaper unless the user have successfully jailbreak their phones. After jailbreak, then the iPhone are finally customizable, but the device will face a bigger risk of security. Okay, apart from being unable to customize the phones, being a closed source system also makes downloadable applications on iOS more limited compared to Android, since the App Store restrictions and strict app approval process. Also, by using iOS, users who use non-Apple computers will tend to have the urge to use Mac or MacBook, since using devices on the same ecosystem will make things easier. For example, transferring files from iPhone to MacBook by using AirDrop is way much easier compared to transferring files from iPhone to Windows laptops. The only problem is that Apple products are quite pricey. Okay, last but not least, Apple devices does not support external storage like SD cards. So if an iPhone goes full of memory, the user will have no choice but to clear some of its files or subscribe to their cloud storage service called iCloud. Okay, I think that's all from us. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.